There is a hidden danger quietly spreading through every grocery store right now, one most people walk past without even noticing. But you're about to see it, and once you do, you won't forget it, because the foods disappearing first aren't the expensive ones. They're the cheap survival staples that will be gone before December 2025 if this trend continues. And while everyone else is distracted by flashy shortages and news headlines, I've been tracking the real pattern underneath the one no one is talking about. What I'm about to show you explains exactly which essential items are silently vanishing, why prices are about to spike even harder, and why one specific food in this list, number 10, will shock you once you understand what's happening behind the scenes. I'm telling you this because I've seen the data. Watched the shipments slow and followed the markets before the public catches on. So listen closely. This is the part they won't warn you about. Number 1. Iodized salt when an economic collapse hits. The items everyone overlooks suddenly become the ones worth their weight in gold. And iodized salt sits at the top of that list. You've seen shelves empty of cooking essentials before. But salt is one of those rare survival tools that stays cheap only until people realize how valuable it actually is. In a long-term crisis, when the supply chain breaks and food preservation becomes a daily battle, salt becomes a lifeline. You're not just storing a seasoning, you're storing a preservative, a disinfectant, an electrolyte stabilizer, one of the most powerful barter currencies ever known. Its price has already crept up due to rising shipping costs, and in a deeper recession, bulk mineral salts could easily double in price. Salt never expires, never spoils, and never loses potency, which means every container you buy today is a permanent asset. When meat shortages hit, you'll be able to cure food. When dehydration strikes, you'll be able to mix electrolytes. And when others run out, you'll have a trade item they desperately want. Don't wait. Grab extra containers now and seal your long-term security. Number 2. Dry lentils as the economy weakens and grocery budgets shrink. You need foods that deliver maximum nutrition for the smallest cost, and dry lentils might be the single smartest. Carbohydrate protein source you can stockpile. In a collapse, fuel becomes precious, and that's where lentils leave other legumes behind. They cook fast, need almost no preparation, and use a fraction of the water required by traditional beans. That means you save not just money, but fuel, time, and stress. Nutritionally, lentils give you exactly what your body needs during crisis. High protein, slow-release carbohydrates, fiber, iron, and minerals that keep you mentally sharp and physically strong. They store small, weigh little, and in a sealed mylar bag with oxygen absorbers. They last a decade or more, turning a cheap bulk purchase today into long-term food insurance. But pay attention. Major exporters like India and Canada have already announced supply redirections, causing a projected 10 to 15% spike soon. When markets tighten, the easiest foods to store and transport disappear first. Lentils are one of them. So don't treat them as optional. Treat them as the foundation of your survival diet. Buy in bulk, seal them properly, and secure a protein source that outperforms nearly any other under $1 a pound. Number 3. Instant rice in an economic collapse. Every minute of cooking time becomes a resource you can't afford to waste. Fuel shortages, rolling blackouts, and skyrocketing propane prices turn even simple meals into a challenge. That's why instant rice becomes a survival powerhouse. Unlike regular rice that demands long boil times, instant rice cooks in minutes with minimal fuel, sometimes with nothing more than hot water. When you're tired, stressed, cold, or rationing gas, those few saved minutes mean everything. Instant rice is cheap today, often around $1 a pound, but don't expect that to last. Global rice prices jumped nearly 20% recently. Quick cook varieties are always the first to disappear when crises hit. Storage is simple. A cool pantry keeps it stable for 5 years, and mylar bags can push that even longer. Instant rice also pairs with almost anything: beans, lentils, canned meats, spices, or broth cubes, turning them into warm, morale-boosting meals when you need comfort the most. In a collapsing economy, consistency matters, and instant rice guarantees calories you can rely on. Don't wait for shortages to remind you how valuable fast-cooking food becomes. Stock up now while it's still cheap. Number 4. Dried chickpeas. When money tightens and protein becomes harder to find, dried chickpeas rise from an overlooked pantry item to an essential survival food. They carry a nutritional punch few other staples can match. Complete protein when paired with grains. Slow burn, carbohydrates, iron, magnesium, fiber, and long-lasting satiety that keeps your energy stable during stressful days. Yes, chickpeas require soaking and longer cooking times compared to lentils. But the payoff is worth it, especially in a long-term situation where you need hearty, filling meals that stretch far. With simple ingredients like olive oil, garlic powder, and salt, you can turn chickpeas into hearty stews, pan-fried patties, or even a basic survival-style hummus that feels almost gourmet during a crisis. Chickpeas store exceptionally well, lasting 10+ years in mylar with oxygen absorbers, making them a low-cost investment that will feed you long after canned goods disappear. But demand is rising globally, and weather disruptions in major producing regions mean prices are climbing 10 to 15% already. In a severe economic downturn, protein sources vanish first, and these will be no exception. Grab bulk chickpeas now, seal them properly, and give yourself a nutrient-dense food that strengthens your stockpile instead of straining your budget. Number 5. Canned sardines or mackerel when the economy breaks down and fresh food becomes a luxury. Canned sardines and mackerel instantly become some of the most valuable proteins you can own. These cans are cheap today, usually $1 to $1.25. But their true worth shows during crisis. No refrigeration, no prep, no fuel, and no waste. You open the can and you're eating real protein, real fats, omega-3s, south calcium, and B vitamins within seconds. That's rare in survival food. Protein shortages hit hard during recessions and supply chain failures, and canned seafood shelves are among the first to empty. Add overfishing, shipping costs, and rising global demand. And it's easy to see why analysts expect a 15 to 20% jump in canned fish prices. In a crisis, your body craves fats for energy, focus, and warmth, and sardines deliver more usable nutrition per ounce than many expensive prep foods. Some cans last 5 to 8 years with proper storage, making them both long-term insurance and immediate ready meals. And when morale drops, a warm bowl of rice topped with sardines tastes like a feast. Don't wait for shortages to wake you up. Grab a full case now, rotate it yearly, and secure a powerful protein source before prices explode. Number 6. Peanut butter. As inflation eats away at grocery budgets and families struggle to afford protein, peanut butter becomes one of the most reliable emergency foods you can stock. One jar carries hundreds of calories, dense fats, protein, fiber, and real comfort, something you'll desperately need when stress levels rise and food options shrink. Peanut butter doesn't require cooking, heating, or preparation. In a blackout or blackout fuel crisis, a single spoonful becomes a quick life-saving dose of energy. And when paired with oats, crackers, or rice cakes, it turns into an actual meal. But the real prepping MVP is powdered peanut butter. Lightweight, non-greasy, and capable of lasting 10 years in mylar or sealed cans. It becomes your long-term backup when regular jars expire. Mix it with water, or add it into oatmeal or shakes for instant protein. Supply warnings are already here. Droughts in major peanut-producing regions are causing processors to raise prices 8 to 10%. In a deeper economic collapse, calorie-dense foods like this will be the first to vanish or get hoarded. Protect yourself now. Buy several jars for current use and a large bag of powdered peanut butter for your long-term storage. Your future self will thank you. Number 7. Powdered eggs in a true economic collapse. Fresh eggs will become a rare luxury again, just like during past shortages when prices spiked and shelves emptied overnight. That's why powdered eggs are one of the smartest long-term protein sources you can store. A single can gives you the equivalent of 60 to 70 eggs, without refrigeration, without spoilage, and without worrying about cracked shells or expiration dates. They're incredibly versatile. You can scramble them, bake with them, mix into pancakes, or boost the protein of survival meals that would otherwise be bland. When your body is stressed and energy demands rise, having access to real protein, not just carbs, becomes essential. Powdered eggs store for 10 to 15 years in a cool, dry place, making them one of the longest-lasting emergency staples available. And consider this, past bird flu outbreaks caused powdered egg prices to jump nearly 30%, and another wave could wipe them from shelves again. In a supply chain breakdown, anything tied to livestock becomes instantly vulnerable. Don't wait for that moment. Secure powdered eggs now while they're still affordable. And make sure you can enjoy real breakfasts even when the world around you is falling apart. Number 8. Shelf-stable milk or powdered milk. When money gets tight and grocery supply chains start cracking, milk becomes one of the first items to vanish, especially during power outages or refrigeration failures. That's why having shelf-stable milk or powdered milk is a major advantage in any economic crisis. Powdered milk lasts an incredible 20-plus years when sealed in mylar with oxygen absorbers, making it one of the most reliable long-term dairy substitutes you can buy. Gives you flexibility. Mix it into oatmeal, coffee, mashed potatoes, baking, or even drink it straight. And in dark times, the simple comfort of a warm cup of milk can lift morale more than you'd expect. Cost-wise, powdered milk still runs around $3.50 per pound in bulk, cheap when you consider how far one bag stretches. UT shelf-stable milk lasts about a year and doesn't require refrigeration until opened, making it perfect for medium-term storage. But here's the warning. Global dairy powder prices rose 16% last year alone, and demand across Asia and Africa is booming, shrinking U.S. availability. In a collapse scenario, dairy alternatives become priceless. Stock up now, seal what you can, and give yourself a dependable source of protein, calcium, and comfort when the supply chain breaks. Number 9. Canned pumpkin or sweet potato, when a crisis drags on and your body starts feeling the strain of cheap. Repetitive meals, canned pumpkin and sweet potatoes become silent heroes in your survival stash. These cans aren't just seasonal baking ingredients. They are nutrient powerhouses loaded with vitamin A, fiber, potassium, and slow-burning carbohydrates that keep your energy steady during stressful days. In an economic collapse, when produce becomes expensive or completely unavailable, these canned vegetables offer something rare, reliable, nutritious, long-lasting calories that require zero refrigeration and almost no preparation. You can stir them into oats, thicken soups, stretch pancake batter, or eat them straight with a little cinnamon and salt to create a morale-boosting meal. Their shelf life is exceptional, 3 to 5 years easily, and many cans remain safe far beyond their printed dates if stored in a cool pantry. With extreme weather hitting major growing regions in the U.S., costs are already rising 10 to 15%. And as people rediscover the value of shelf-stable produce, these cans will vanish faster than you expect. Add a case to your reserves while they're still cheap, because in a collapse, nutrient-dense comfort foods become priceless. Number 10. Cornmeal. In an economic crisis, one of your biggest challenges is stretching basic ingredients into filling. Morale-supporting meals, and cornmeal delivers that better than almost any other grain. It's cheap today, usually under $1.50 per pound, yet it transforms into an incredible number of foods. Cornbread, dumplings, hush puppies, fried cakes, porridge. In a collapse, when you need meals that warm you, fill you, and keep your family satisfied, cornmeal becomes a true survival staple. It's calorie-dense, easy to cook, and pairs beautifully with powdered milk, eggs, oil, beans, or canned meats. Nutritionally, provides slow-burning carbohydrates and essential trace minerals that help stabilize energy when stress is draining your body. Shelf life is solid, 12 to 18 months in its original bag, but up to 5 years when stored in mylar with oxygen absorbers. With global corn prices already rising 14% and supply chains tightening, corn-based products are always the first to spike. If wheat shortages hit hard, corn becomes the fallback grain everyone rushes to buy. Don't be caught scrambling when shelves empty. Stock up on cornmeal now, divide it into sealed portions. Guarantee yourself a versatile food source as the economy continues to crack. Number 11. Instant mashed potatoes in a collapsing economy. When you're exhausted from constant stress and scrambling to stretch every penny. Instant mashed potatoes become one of the most comforting and practical foods you can stock. They require almost no fuel, no cooking skills, and barely any water. a massive advantage when propane, electricity, or clean water become unreliable. Just add hot water, and in minutes, you have a warm, filling, morale-boosting meal that feels like real food during a time when everything else feels like survival mode. Instant potatoes are calorie-dense, easy to digest, and perfect for pairing with beans, canned meats, powdered cheese, or gravy mixes. They hit the emotional center hard, giving you that sense of normal meals even when the world is anything but normal. Shelf life is impressive, up to 10 years when stored in mylar with oxygen absorbers, and at least a couple of years in their original bag. But don't ignore the warning signs. Potato yields in major U.S. regions have dropped due to climate swings, pushing prices up steadily. When supply chains crack further, comfort foods will vanish first. Secure your bags now and guarantee yourself a cheap, warm, reliable meal source in hard times. Number 12, pasta. When money is tight, options are limited, and stress is high. Pasta becomes one of the most dependable survival foods you can have on your shelves. It's cheap today, often $1 per pound or less, but it delivers huge returns, around 200 calories per cooked cup, long-lasting fullness, and the flexibility to create dozens of meals with minimal ingredients. In an economic collapse, when families struggle to keep kids fed and morale steady, pasta becomes a lifeline. It cooks fast, doesn't need refrigeration, and pairs with anything: canned tomatoes, beans, sardines, oil, bouillon, powdered cheese, or even simple spices. Kids eat it without complaint, which matters more than people realize during long-term crisis. Stored in airtight containers, pasta lasts 5 to 10 years easily, making it one of the longest-lasting carbohydrates in your pantry. But here's the warning. Global durum wheat prices have already spiked over 11% due to droughts in Canada and Europe. And pasta manufacturers always feel those shortages first. That means your cheap 99-cent box could quietly climb to $1.50 or $2 soon. Guarantee, wait for sticker shock, stockpile 10 to 20 pounds now, and build a reliable carb base before prices explode. Number 13, hard red wheat berries. When an economic collapse stretches longer than anyone expects, the people who survive best aren't the ones with the most canned goods. They the ones with the most raw staples, and nothing beats hard red wheat berries for long-term resilience. These aren't just grains. They are a full survival system, stored properly in mylar bags or sealed buckets. Wheat berries last 25 to 30 years, outliving nearly every food in your pantry. In a crisis, they give you 3 critical advantages. You can grind them into fresh flour for bread, cook them whole as a chewy porridge, or sprout them for nutrient-rich greens when fresh produce becomes impossible to afford. At around 60 to 75 cents per pound in bulk, the value is unbeatable. And remember, flour goes rancid in months, but wheat berries stay fresh for decades. With droughts hitting Kansas, Oklahoma, and other wheat regions, U.S. exports have tightened, pushing domestic demand toward long shelf-life grains. Bread shortages aren't fiction. We already saw empty aisles during previous supply chain scares. Don't wait for the next round. Secure a bulk bag of wheat berries and a manual grinder, and you've just given yourself real food independence when everything else fails. Number 14, popcorn kernels in a crisis. Morale becomes just as important as calories, and popcorn kernels give you both. Most people think of popcorn as a movie night snack, but preppers know it's actually a versatile, long-lasting, dual-purpose grain. Stored properly, popcorn kernels last 5 to 10 years, and in mylar with oxygen absorbers, they can stretch into decades. That makes them one of the most overlooked survival carbs you can buy for under $1.25 per pound. You get an instant morale snack when popped with a little oil and salt, something warm, crunchy, and soothing when stress is high and meals are repetitive. But here's the real value. Popcorn kernels can also be ground into homemade cornmeal if you have a small manual grinder. In a long economic downturn, when store shelves empty and processed corn products vanish, having a backup source of cornmeal becomes a serious advantage. Corn demand is already spiking globally, and when other corn-based goods become scarce, these little kernels become your hidden stockpile of calories. They store small, cook fast, and offer variety when your meals start to feel identical. Add a large bag to your pantry now, and give yourself both a comfort food and a fallback grain before shortages tighten further. Number 15, rolled oats. When an economic collapse drags on and food fatigue hits hard, rolled oats become one of the most reliable, filling, and cost-effective staples you can rely on. Oats deliver long-lasting energy, stabilize blood sugar, and keep you full far longer than most cheap carbohydrates. At just 75 cents to $1 per pound in bulk, oats give you one of the lowest cost per meal options in all of prepping. What makes them priceless during crisis is their simplicity. You can prepare them with nothing more than hot water. And in extreme situations, even cold water will work with extra soak time. That means you save fuel, you save time, and you get consistent calories when you need them most. Rolled oats also pair with almost everything: powdered milk, peanut butter, sugar, canned pumpkin, spices, or even a scoop of powdered eggs for added protein. Stored in mylar with oxygen absorbers, they last well over 10 years, making them a dependable backbone food for long-term survival. In past shortages, oats were among the first grains to disappear because families recognized their versatility. Don't wait for that moment to repeat. Bulk buy your oats now and secure a food that keeps your body steady and your morale intact. Number 16, ramen noodles. In a collapsing economy, when stress is high and comfort is rare, ramen noodles become more than a cheap meal. They become a psychological lifeline. At just 25 to 30 cents per brick, ramen is one of the most affordable hot meals you can store. It requires almost no fuel, no skill, and minimal water. In a world of uncertainty, having a hot, salty, familiar meal ready in minutes can make a massive difference in morale. But ramen's value goes beyond the noodles themselves. Those tiny seasoning packets are pure survival gold, turning bland rice, beans, potatoes, pasta, or vegetables into flavorful meals that keep your appetite strong when stress kills your hunger. Ramen lasts 2 to 3 years in its original packaging, and even longer when stored airtight. And because it's lightweight, compact, and universally liked, it becomes a perfect barter item when shelves empty. But here's the warning. Global wheat prices are rising fast, and instant noodles always see price jumps early during supply chain pressure. In a deep recession or food shortage, ramen will vanish faster than almost anything else. Stockpile a full box now while it's still dirt cheap. Give yourself a comforting, reliable meal source for the hard days ahead. Number 17, sugar or molasses in a long-term economic collapse, when calories become harder to secure and energy levels crash from stress. Sugar and molasses transform from simple sweeteners into essential survival tools. Sugar isn't just about taste, it's pure, immediate fuel. 1 tablespoon gives you a fast 50-calorie boost, which can be life-saving when you're exhausted from hauling water, chopping wood, or rationing meals. Even more importantly, sugar is a key ingredient in food preservation. Without it, you can't make jams, jellies, fruit syrups, or properly cure certain meats. Molasses pushes the value even further by adding iron, magnesium, potassium, vitamin B6, nutrients your body desperately needs when fresh produce becomes impossible to afford. Both store extremely well. Sugar lasts indefinitely when kept dry, and molasses easily survives 5 years unopened. But here's the danger. Global sugar production is tightening, and prices are already inching upward. Natural sweeteners like molasses are rising even faster due to international demand. In a collapse, comfort items and energy boosters disappear almost instantly. Don't underestimate their value. Stock several bags of sugar and at least 1 jug of molasses now. Your future recipes, your morale, and your energy levels will depend on it. Number 18, Bullion cubes or powdered broth. During a crisis, one of the biggest threats to morale and even nutrition is bland food. Eating the same flavorless rice or beans day after day drains your willpower. That's why bouillon cubes and powdered broth are absolute essentials in an economic collapse. These tiny, lightweight flavor bombs can transform the simplest meals into something warm, savory, and comforting. With just 1 cube, you can turn plain rice into soup, create a broth base for noodles, season vegetables, or add depth to stews. When you're sweating through physical labor or dealing with dehydration, the salt and electrolytes in bouillon also help keep your body balanced. They cost almost nothing now, usually $1 or $2 per container, yet offer massive value per serving. Stored airtight, they easily last 5 to 10 years, making them one of the cheapest long-term morale boosters you can buy. But as more people turn to shelf-stable cooking ingredients during uncertain times, bullion disappears fast. Each economic scare in recent years has wiped these from shelves almost overnight. Don't wait for the next crisis to hit. Stock up now and make every survival meal taste like something worth eating. Number 19, vegetable oil or lard in any economic collapse. One of the first things people forget until it's too late is cooking fat. Yet without oil or lard, your entire food supply becomes harder to prepare, less flavorful, and dramatically lower in calories. A single tablespoon of oil delivers over 120 calories, making it one of the most calorie-dense survival foods you can store. When you're burning energy just staying warm, hauling supplies, or rationing food, that calorie density becomes critical. Oil lets you fry, saute, bake, preserve, and even create high-energy emergency snacks. Lard and coconut oil bring additional advantages: longer shelf life, higher heat tolerance, and far more stability during long-term storage. But here's the warning: global vegetable oil prices have already jumped due to droughts in soybean regions, rising fuel costs, and strained supply chains. In a real collapse, cooking oil will disappear faster than almost anything else, because everyone needs it but almost no one stores it. Regular vegetable oil lasts 12 to 18 months when kept cool, while lard and coconut oil can last up to 5 years if sealed properly. Don't leave your meals dry and your calories short. Stock up now and protect your ability to cook real food when it matters most. Number 20, apple cider vinegar. When the economy crashes and access to medical supplies, cleaners, and fresh produce becomes unpredictable, apple cider vinegar becomes one of the most multifunctional liquids you can own. CV isn't just a cooking ingredient, it's a preserver, cleaner, digestive aid, water container sanitizer, natural antiseptic, insect deterrent, and a powerful ingredient for fermentation. In a world where every resource counts, one bottle that can solve a dozen problems is priceless. It doesn't require refrigeration and has a virtually indefinite shelf life, becoming stronger and more acidic over time. You can use it to pickle vegetables, extend the life of produce, create homemade electrolyte drinks, clean wounds in emergencies, soothe sore throats, or maintain a sourdough starter when yeast becomes hard to find. At under $3 a bottle, a CV is wildly undervalued, but that won't last in a severe economic downturn. As people wake up to its versatility, demand will skyrocket just like it did during previous supply panics. This is one of the easiest, cheapest preparedness items you can buy today. Add several bottles to your pantry, your bug-out bag, and your medical kit, and give yourself a multi-use tool that will serve you in dozens of crisis situations. When the economy collapses, you won't rise by luck. You will rise because you prepared when everyone else hesitated. These 20 low-cost foods are more than pantry items. They're a shield against uncertainty, hunger, and desperation. Start small, start today, and build your security one item at a time. Every can, every bag, every sealed bucket strengthens your future. Don't rely on hope, rely on action. Stock up now, stay ready, and protect the people who depend on you while there's still time.